What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Suge, and this is a Still Conspiracy podcast. I'm here with my favorite person in the whole world, my co-host, the person that keeps me in check, the person that keeps me going, Miss Adelia. How you doing today, Miss Adelia?
That's quite the intro. I'm doing fine, Shook. Thanks. Glad to
Yeah,
be here. Glad to talk about stuff tonight. A little sad still over Saturday.
yes. If you were here during the watch along of the NFC game, you would know why Adelia was sad. We'll talk all about it. She was
You
not in the
got
mood
my
for
live
football that night.
reaction on the internet. As I said on that stream, I can't believe I'm saying that I hate football on a day when we won an overtime playoff game against Josh Allen.
Exactly, and we will talk all about that. It was an unfortunate event that happened that will be going into this AFC Championship game for the Broncos that may hinder them. We don't know. We never want to
We
speculate.
don't know.
We'll see what happens, but it is an unfortunate event. But everybody, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being hanging out with us tonight. If you are in the chat, let us know you're here. Say hi. We really appreciate it. If you are watching this, leave a comment on the video and let us know what you think about everything we talked about tonight. And if you are interested in more programming, more shows, check out the links that Miss Adelia applies in the description. We really appreciate it. Also, Miss Adelia, let everybody know where they can, if they want to help us out monetarily, where they can find all that information.
First off, we have Streamlabs up tonight. Streamlabs.com/LGRN_official. So if you want to guarantee your comment gets read on the show, you can send it in there. And then we also have patreon.com/LGR LGR_network and ko-fi.com/LGR_network. Our new tiers on there just went live. You get perks that help you, have a little piece of the pie here at LGRN as far as like decision making goes, and like other stuff, voting power on polls and all kinds of stuff on those tiers. So do check those out. Every little cent that we get from Streamlabs or from the Patreon or Ko-Fi goes right back into the channel to make things better because it helps keep the lights on around here, basically. So this stuff isn't free.
Facts.
A lot of people think it's real easy to just stream on YouTube. It's not.
Yeah.
So.
And if you want to also support, merch is in the store. This is my new favorite sweater. I love black, but this gray one is amazing and it's comfortable and it keeps me cool when I'm out doing my Uber or DoorDash or Walmarting. So this is my new favorite sweater that I love so much. There's also shirts, hats, cups. You'll see Miss Adelia drinking out of a cup. I think, oh, she got a Still Conspiracy cup. Usually she has post credits, or I think you had a starter 11 one, right?
I have several of them now.
Yeah, so she has a Still Conspiracy one. So if you want to get some of that merch, check out the links in the description.
Let's get ready networkshop.com.
There it is. All right, Mr. Dealer, let's get into it. You talked about it. The AFC divisional round, tough game. You guys go in there at home. Buffalo comes in. You're actually playing pretty well that first half, but it becomes a tight second half. You guys end up winning, but at what cost? The news came out after you guys' win during the NFC divisional game that Bo Nix had broken his ankle. Or is it a bone in his ankle? Was
It's a bone in his ankle. Okay. Clearly, they could tell immediately that it was broken and everything because they wouldn't have announced it that quick after the game if it was unclear or if they were unsure. By the time that Sean Payton came back into the room to say that he'd broken his ankle, they already had surgery scheduled for him. That surgery apparently took place today in Alabama. So yeah, it was a gut punch. I think everybody on the stream that was watching on our 49ers and Seahawks watch along that we did only the first half of, because A, the game sucked, and B, I just didn't want anything more to do with football that day, could tell how absolutely gutted I was when that news came through. Because all week, everybody around the Lunch Break Hot Take crew, around, the Rogue Pod crew, everybody's telling me, "Oh, you got nothing to worry about. The Broncos are going to win. The Broncos are going to win." I'm like, "No, it's Josh Allen and the Bills, man. Like, you never know with them, and I just don't have 100% faith that that's going to happen. And then we go into the game, and we were playing well in the first half, and then we fell behind in the second half, and I was just like, it's over. Cuz that's just how I am. I guess I'm more pessimist by nature in that regard when it comes to sports, but like it did not seem like something that was going to be a game we were going to pull out and win. And then we got it, to where we were in the lead in the fourth quarter, and I was like, I know they're going to we got it, going into overtime at the end of the regulation, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I was forcing myself to say words on the stream we were doing on the watch along,
Yeah.
because otherwise I would have just sat there and said nothing, and I know that that does not make for good internet. So, I was forcing myself to say things, and like I was so happy when we won, and then I mean just so happy. Like it's been a very long time since we've gotten to this stage. I mean, 10 years since we'd gotten to this stage of the playoffs. Because last year we were in the playoffs, but we didn't make it past the first round. And last year's was against the Bills. And I was convinced that that the we were gonna lose to the Bills again. So when the news came through that Bo Nix had broken his ankle, Yolanda from Ravens Talk with Yolanda was the one who actually put it in our chat first, and I was like, "What? Huh?" Because I didn't catch the injury on the thing. Now,
Yeah.
apparently, a lot of people could tell that he was injured. Apparently, Tracy Wolfson was tweeting out that he looked like he was hobbling and all of that. But I wasn't on Twitter. I was on the watch longs, so I didn't know what was happening. I was absolutely shocked when that news came through, and it sucks. We now have Jarrett Stidham starting at quarterback. He's made 4 NFL starts in his career. He hasn't taken a snap for the Broncos in the past 2 seasons, except in preseason. He played very well in the preseason this year, but it's preseason. It's not the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. So I have hope, but I don't have much faith, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk more about Bo Nix injuries, but I want to go back to a controversial play right now that's circulating in that game, which was the pass from Josh Allen to, I believe, Coleman. Um, and I believe it was Pat
Jaquan
PJ.
McMillan. No, it was Jaquan
Wasn't
McMillan.
okay. Jaquan
It
McMillan.
wasn't the PJ Lock interception. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Jaquan McMillan.
yeah. Okay, Jaquan McMillan. Um, that's my daughter goes screaming by my mic. Um, Josh Allen throws a pass to Coleman. Coleman catches it, and as they go to the ground and roll over, McMillan strips him of the ball, and they called interception. Now, I am no, I'm not, I'm not used to controversial catches in the Steelers games, so I wouldn't know anything about it. No, but there's been a lot of controversial catches this season with this actual situation coming up. Oh, it was Cooks. I'm
Brandon
sorry.
Cooks.
Okay, I thought it was Coleman. But there's a lot of people, very upset about the play. I know I asked you, I think, during the game, and I asked you afterwards, what was your thought on that play? And I'll ask you again now. After rewatching it a few times, and as a couple days out past the game, what are your thoughts on that play? Like, give us your thoughts as a fan, as a Denver Broncos fan. Give me your thoughts.
Um, I have to just go with what the officials say because I don't know the game like that. I don't know whether that's a catch. I don't know what makes a catch. Like a lot of people have been going to the Isaiah Likely play where he had to put 3 feet down before it was considered a catch. Like I don't know that that's what makes a catch. I don't know what makes a catch. If they say that Brandon Cooks didn't have possession on the ground, um, and that McMillan did, then I go with that. Now, are officials wrong sometimes? Yes, they are. They're wrong often. But I don't know enough about the game to say that that was incorrect. I get why it's controversial. I get why a lot of people feel that he should have been considered down, but they said he wasn't. And I also understand what they were saying about why he wasn't. So I don't know.
Yeah. So being that, especially with the Isaiah Likely, where I dove deep in the NFL rules and everything, what I've come to realize, and I won't say, was it a catch, was it not a catch, because there's rules and
Yeah.
those rules are lined out. What I will say is the NFL is trying to overcompensate for um, situational football. Um,
Yeah.
and I think understandably in big moments this happens, but we have to simplify what a catch is. I
Yes. I
understand
agree.
I understand that there's, okay, yes, you have, surviving the ground. You have, did he make a football move, things like that. But there's not always going to be a simple cut and dry, did he
There's
make a
going to
move,
be
things like that.
situations where
Where
it
there's just not
doesn't
an
fit.
opportunity. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Thank you. And to me, this catch is one of those situations because, like you said, you understand the argument on both sides. Um, and the unfortunate thing is the ball never hits the ground, so you have to either call it a catch or an interception. You can't call it incomplete because the ball never hits the ground.
The ball never hits the ground. Yeah.
So you're in a tough spot. And I understand people's criticism of why didn't they go back and look at it. You know, we also got to remember too that New York is constantly watching these games and they're looking at this stuff. So they had to have some input. They could have stopped the game to go relook over it. They must have already looked over it. So you can't
Yeah.
sit there and make this excuse of, well, why didn't they look at it? They had to have looked at it, and they even said that they, because they have the extra, the ref that's not working, who kind of like chimes in when there's like controversial calls, like pass interference or things like that, and they'll say, oh yeah, that's clearly pass interference, or no, he wasn't, or I don't think that's it, or da 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 da, and to me, even that ref said, like he agreed with what you said, where he felt like McMillan got the ball and Cook didn't have possession when he hit the ground. The ball was loose.
Mhm.
So I get all that. But again, I think they're overcompensating and we need to get back to what is a catch. Because at the end of the day, I think even you as a Denver Broncos fan, if they would have ruled that a catch, you would have been upset, but you would be like,
I would
okay,
have
yeah, it's a catch.
understood.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would have understood. There are controversial plays where people go, wait a minute, that's the wrong. Obviously we've seen Saints versus the Rams, the pass interference call that wasn't called, or there's the Jesse James versus the Patriots, call with the Steelers, or even the San Antonio Holmes touchdown.
Mhm.
Shout out to Buck, with that catch. So there's always going to be these plays that refs might get wrong, might have a chance to get wrong. Um, but we can't take 10 minutes to stare at a play. It has to be like under a minute or two because we got to
Right.
keep the game moving. Um,
Mhm.
and so I understand why people are upset, but at the same time, in real time, if we didn't have replay, you kind of got to go with what you saw and what the ref saw and what replay kind of showed was that ball was coming out as they hit the ground and there was no actual possession. Um, and again, I'm not one to deal. I'm not one to be in controversial calls. Aaron Rodgers being down versus the Ravens and he had his hand on the ball and then it got ripped out. Um, so there's a lot of examples you can use in this play. It's just unfortunate it went against the Bills and it sucks, but I think the NFL is going to take a lot of looks at a lot of looks. I can't even talk right now. Going to take a look at a lot of these plays that were called this year about catches and hopefully fix a lot of these situations where it's not just, it'll be more, a little bit more cut and dry and not so controversial. um
Yeah.
I just spoke a lot and
I,
I'm out of breath now.
it's okay. I think that there is a lot that they get wrong, these refs.
Yeah.
There's a lot they get wrong, but there's a lot they get right by the letter of the law that fans just feel is wrong.
Yeah, and they
I
don't
mean,
like it because it's against their team or it's against their
yeah.
favorite person or player, which is understandable. But if it's the law, like we had the conversation about throwing flags. If you false start, offsides, roughing the passer, and it's in the
Mhm.
last couple of seconds of the game, you have to make that call. Like you can't let it go. Like it doesn't. That I
Yeah.
hate that. I hate when people say that. Like it's so dumb. Like if it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's a call that needs to be called, it needs to be called. Don't say well because it's the and there was actually talking about that later on in the game, the pass interference, where people are complaining about that, and there's a still photo of the Bill's corner literally having his arm on the Broncos player and holding his arm down. That's a
Yeah.
foul. That
That's a
it
foul.
doesn't.
There should have been a safety in overtime that ended it in overtime. Like, so here's the situation from the ESPN article I pulled up here says that they said that Cooks would get the reception if this had been a case of simultaneous possession, since the ties go to the receiver. But because Cooks didn't complete the catch as he hit the ground, he didn't possess the football. So it's not simultaneous possession. And Jaquan McMillan took the ball away from him before he was down. So that's an interception. I don't know if I understand that either. Like, it's just it's it's really tough to say that this call is 100% incorrect or 100% correct. It's like
Yeah,
in that gray area in the 50-50 middle. And yeah, um I think a lot of this came from Buffalo fans, and I think a lot of it came from the fact that they just didn't get the job done against the Broncos, because the next play, of course, the Broncos have a run with RJ Harvey. And then that drive ends, I believe, with us getting in the range for the game tying field goal. So, or game winning field goal. Um, what would have been a game winning field goal at the time, and all of that. Um, Davon's in the chat. Hey, Davon, two of my faves. Well, thank you, Davon. Appreciate that.
appreciate it. We're
Um,
making we're making something out of nothing, Davon.
I mean, that's what we do on this channel, isn't it? Um, I will be on the replay, of course. Appreciate the content. Thank you, Davon. Appreciate you. Always good to have Davon around.
Facts,
Um,
Davon.
the pass interference calls, that's a judgment call. I don't think anybody can tell me that pass interference isn't a judgment call. Sometimes it's obvious,
It's
sometimes it's
obvious.
not, and they
It's
call
obvious
it
when they
anyways.
drag him to the ground.
Yeah, that's when it's obvious. Sometimes it's like there is no other option but pass interference here, but most of the time with pass interference, it's like, well, I can see why you gave that, but you also could have let it go. Like there's things. There's a lot of gray area in rules in when it comes to sports. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah.
Because like
Oh, for
not every
sure.
situation, not every catch, not every anything is going to be the same. So
Yeah, for sure. And it's just unfortunate it went against the Bills, and they're upset about it. Like I get it. Like I've seen, calls that were against the Steelers that I did not like and care for, and it killed us. Like when we were doing the watch along versus I believe the Ravens or the Texans, like I kept seeing the guard false start every time, and they didn't call it.
yeah,
And it's like, why are you not calling this false start when you clearly see him start early? um it just human error, they miss it sometimes.
yeah,
And you have to know that in sports some things are just going to get missed, like when it's blatantly obvious, going back to the Saints versus Rams pass interference. It
yeah,
really ticks you off because it was like, how did someone miss that? But it happens. Or the judgment, they didn't see it, like you said, like you just said right now. They didn't see it that way. They saw it a different way. And we are all different, so we see things differently. I may see pass interference. You might see offensive pass interference. I
yeah,
might see, false start. You might say, nope, he's going right when the ball is hiked. So unfortunately, we're never going to get it right. It's never going to be 100% unless we computerize it, which even then that might not even be 100%.
yeah,
So we just have to live with and hope for the best. And it sucks because yeah, one team's got to lose, one team's got to win. But at the end of the day, you know, And what really irritated me about this is I hate the old saying the ball never lies, and how fans were going like, oh, see, Bo Nix broke his ankle. See, the ball never lies. They should have never won the game. Like, first off,
That's
why are you such?
horrifying.
Yeah, why are you such like that? You're such a dick, for even
Yeah.
saying that. Like the ball never lie. Like an interception or you fumble on the next play. That's the ball never lies. Someone breaking their ankle and now losing an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl that they may not never get a chance to go back to again
Yeah.
sucks, especially a second year player. Like the guy has worked his butt off. He played great. He had one interception this game, 200 something yards, 3 touchdowns for a second year player. He's one of the best second year players. Him and May are one of the best second year players to ever, that played this game and getting to this point. Like you should be more upset about that. We are going to miss out on possibly two of the next great quarterbacks to play in their careers early to go to a Super Bowl. That's what you should
Yeah.
like. Could you imagine like Brady and Peyton when their second year played against each other to go to the Super Bowl? We didn't get to see that because they were both not great their second year. You got these
Yeah.
guys that are in their second year and both MVP candidates and leading their team as a second year player, and now we don't get to see. Oh man, this might go down in history as down the line they constantly get to this championship game and play each other many of times, and we lose that now. We lose that now. You still still a team game, but you lose two great young quarterbacks playing each other in a high stakes game, and
Yeah.
you got people making comments like that and things like that instead of being like, dang, Bo Nix he broke his ankle, he's gonna be out now. That sucks. He's young. What happens if he has surgery today and something doesn't go right? That's happened. We've known it's happened. I don't want to wish it
If
on him,
yeah.
but that has happened to people. They lose their careers, and so I think people need to be more cognizant. I don't know.
Cognizant.
There you go. Of things they say, and obviously it's trolls and everything like that. But that was a great game,
It was a
and
great game.
that first half you guys had him, and then the second half, Josh Allen, what he's known for, came back. I know a lot of people are on him because he had 4 turnovers, but that's a product of your defense on how good they are and forcing those kind of turnovers. Yes, did he make a dumb mistake at the end of the half where he could have just freaking slid and not freaking thrown the ball back
Yeah.
toward his own goal line?
See, we got a question here from Dylan Earl who says, "Is the Denver Broncos still going to win on Sunday?" I hope so.
I
I
think
don't know.
I think it's in Mile High, or is it still Mile High Stadium?
It's in
Is it
Mile
still,
High.
okay?
Yeah.
It's in Mile High. You have a second year quarterback in Drake May. If you or yeah, Drake May. If your defense can make them uncomfortable, you can ride the Super Bowl with the defense. You really can.
Yeah. We can. Yeah.
You just need your running backs to make plays, to take a lot of pressure off your quarterback, and when he does throw the ball, your wide receivers to make catches and no mistakes, and for your quarterback not to make a mistake. Because you're at a point now where your defense can play two really good games and you win the Super Bowl if
Hmm.
they play two good games.
Yeah.
We saw with Texas, they played the Texans. They played a really good defensive game against us, and absolutely
And then
got
they didn't
smashed by
against.
New
Yeah.
England. So if you can string together two good defensive games, you can carry that to that's if you do that, that's a Super Bowl win.
Hmm.
And your offense doesn't make mistakes. So can they
Yeah.
win? Absolutely. Anybody can win. Any given Sunday. That's always been a thing. Let's see what happens. We'll see what their game plan is. Do they come out throwing? Do they come out and run heavy and just rely on their defense and hopefully they give them good field position to score? We don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think they can do it.
I think they
So
can do it too.
yeah.
It's just a matter of, I mean, New England's defense is no joke either.
Yeah, they're not.
So,
And they have a
um,
coach and both coaches have been there, but one's been there as a player, the other one's both, and one's been there as a coach, so they can lean on that.
Dylan coming back in the chat saying, if we get JK back, we will win. Maybe, but like, how long has it been since JK played? Like, I think RJ Harvey's been pretty good. I think Jaleel McLaughlin was pretty good this past weekend. Um,
I mean, you guys didn't really run the ball a lot. I mean, you
we didn't really run the ball a lot because
outside
we,
outside of Knicks, everybody only had under 10 carries. Knicks had
yeah,
12.
yeah,
Harvey had 4, and McLaughlin had or sorry, Harvey had 6. McLaughlin had 4.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to run the ball more. We are. I don't think they're gonna trust Jarrett Stidham to just go out there and attempt 46 passes like they trust Bo Nix to do. Um, but I don't know. I want to win. Let's make this very clear. I want to win. But maybe it's just my nature to be a little bit like, I don't know if we're going to, you know?
Yeah, you're always nervous about things like this.
Yeah,
So
always.
it is what it
It's
is.
who I am. I don't know.
So
But
we'll
no
go ahead.
penalties. No penalties would be good.
Yes,
We
and no
we
penalties.
have been penalized a lot this year. We didn't give up that many penalties in the game against Buffalo, I don't want to say. So, um they'd be good. Team
Yeah.
stats, we gave up how many penalties? 3 penalties for 20 yards. That's not bad compared to what it's been in the regular season. So,
Yeah, for sure. We will be doing a live stream for that, so make sure to come hang out with us. We'll be live streaming that game right here. Me and Adelia probably have other people on if they want to jump on. So
trying to get Brandy to come on.
Brandy,
Brandy,
isn't
of
it?
course, our resident New England Patriots fan. So,
Yes. So come and hang out with us. Real quick, we'll talk about the other game, the NFC Rams versus the Seahawks, a whole West Coast affair over there.
yep,
Just give us your real quick thoughts on that. What do you think? I mean, Sam Darnold versus Matthew Stafford. Think about that, again. Now that I think about it, it was supposed to be the young quarterbacks versus the old quarterbacks.
yep.
Because it's Matt Stafford, Sam Darnold, who thought people thought his career was done. He's come back with the vengeance, has a really good team over there, a great defense. The Rams, Matt Stafford, you know, lived and died in Detroit and came to the Rams, won a Super Bowl. They gave up a lot, and people thought, oh, they're going to be horrible come years because they, invested all this money and they gave up Cooper Cup and they picked up Devontae Adams. They have Puka Nakua. They have all these really good running backs, a good tight end, and they've now not missed a stride. Who do you got in this game, or who do you think is going to get in this game or win in this game?
I don't know who's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle is the one who won it because I believe Seattle won the regular season series. Let me double check that. But I mean, Matthew Stafford knows what he's doing. Um, he's won a Super Bowl, like you said. He has all this experience. Um, I don't know, man. It could be a lot of different things. The Rams beat the Seahawks once this year. Okay, so
And what's really funny is Cooper Cup is on the Seahawks now, going against
yeah,
his old team. A lot of good storylines there. Another storyline is the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, which was the former Ravens coach, 1 win away from the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Guys kind of messed
So
that one up.
So they've had 2 very close games this year. The Rams won 21-19 on November 16th, and then the Seahawks won 38-37 on December 18th,
Ooh,
overcoming a 16-point deficit to stun the Rams in OT.
ooh, man.
Yeah.
Man, so this should be a really close game. They know each other. They're in the same division. They know each other. This is going to be a really close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout unless they run it back on the first play of the game like the Seahawks did and just blew that game wide open and then got an interception the next play.
The Seahawks won that game by answering a Rams touchdown with a touchdown of their own and converting it a 2-point conversion.
Wow.
That's how they won. Because it was like, how'd they win by 1 point? But it was in overtime. That's how.
You got the cojones to go for a 2-point conversion. I always get worried with 2-point conversions. It scares the crud out of me. Yeah,
This game will
really.
be in Seattle. That was where the 1-point game in overtime was. So I think it'll be a
Yeah.
really good game.
And we remember the 12th man of Seattle, so that is going to be a thing.
Yep.
So it's going to be a good game to watch. I don't know if we'll. What game have we?
The Broncos game is first.
Okay.
Broncos in New England is first. So if it's going well and has gone well, we might do the second game too.
If Adelia is not
If Adelia
upset.
doesn't hate football by the end of the
Yeah.
AFC Championship game, we
Well,
might do
if
the
we would have
NFC
known
Championship
that if
game
we would
too.
have known Bo Nix broke his ankle, we wouldn't have
We
streamed
never would
recorded
have started
it.
this 49ers Seahawks game. Yeah.
Really wish they would have gave us that information earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why it took him an hour to figure that out, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but it's been a good playoffs. A lot of close games and some blowouts, here or there. Unfortunately, I was on the
The
side of one.
49ers Seahawks game was a blowout. I felt bad for the 49ers fans that I know who were watching that game and just like you guys, it all caught up to the 49ers. They had a great season to get to
Yeah,
that
and
point.
they had a lot of injuries,
A lot of injuries.
a lot of injuries to their team. Um, so yeah, so that will be very interesting this weekend. So make sure to come hang out with us. All right, we're gonna move on to the Steelers coaching, and I'll kind of tie this in real quick to coaching overall. Um, I'm gonna go over some hires that been going on this week. For the Chargers, offensive Mike McDaniel is going to the Chargers. He's going
As
to be
their
the next
offensive coordinator.
as their offensive coordinator. That's a very interesting. They got rid of
Greg Roman.
Greg Roman, and now they brought in Mike McDaniel. A lot of people thought Mike McDaniel was going to get a head coaching job, but he is their new offensive coordinator. Tampa Bucks took our special teams coordinator, Danny Smith. I'm very sad about that. Robert, you're going to have to help me with the last name from the 49ers defensive coordinator.
Salah.
Sala is taking the Tennessee head coaching job. Um, Very interesting. Jeff Halfley and John Eric Sullivan. John Eric Sullivan is the new general manager of Miami Dolphins, and Jeff Halfley is the new head coach. My dog is barking. Sorry. Detroit offensive coordinator Drew Pensing is the new offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Kevin Stefanski is the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Some controversy here. The new president of football is Matt Ryan,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are not happy about that. I haven't looked to
I
see
don't blame
why.
them.
I haven't looked to see why people are upset about it.
I don't know. I
I have to
think
look
that
more into
there's
it.
a firing the only black GM and black head coach tandem in the NFL and replacing him with two white guys isn't the best look.
Isn't the best look, but they didn't play well. Like you
I
can't.
know, but like how much is that really Raheem Morris's fault? Like I don't know. I'm just saying I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have a problem with that.
No, I could see that, but I mean, at the same time, like you had a top pick quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. A lot of people are saying we don't know about him, but the problem is, and I get where you're coming from, but you have Drake London, Kyle
No,
Pitts,
I know.
B.J.
They
Robinson.
have a lot of good pieces on that Atlanta team. And I'm not saying that they should have kept the GM and the coach should have kept their jobs. I'm just saying I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that might be one of the reasons why people are not happy.
understandable.
Plus, what experience does Matt Ryan have running a football team?
Well, I know
He's been at CBS.
I know he has experience of losing 28-3
He has an experience of giving up a huge lead in the Super
the
Bowl,
Super Bowl. Yeah, we know that.
but I think a lot of these people would rather front office people who know what they're doing do the front office stuff instead of hiring former players who's never had a job like that or not worked their way up through a front office to just go from sitting on the CBS studio desk to president of football operations when you've never had a job like that before. I kind of see why some people have a problem with that.
100% agree. I was at a job, and I was just a regular worker, and then all of a sudden I became operations manager. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but they gave me that title, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
didn't know what the hell I was doing. Sometimes you learn on the job, but $1 billion. I wasn't dealing with $1 billion franchise, so I can see why people have an issue with it. We'll
Mhm.
talk about that probably next week and get more
Yeah.
insight on that. Our favorite person in the world, Ferris Mutana, is super happy. New York Giants hired head coach John Harbaugh, and
If you want to hear how happy Ferris is, we have a 40-minute breaking news video up on the channel now. There was a lot of yelling.
there's also some things I've been hearing. Rex Ryan might be joining his
Oh boy.
his
Yeah.
coaching team. That would be interesting.
Ferris.
I want to see what Ferris has to say about that one.
Yeah, we're gonna if you want Ferris's thoughts on everything that John Harbaugh said at his introductory press conference and stuff today, Good Friends Better Rivals will be on the air Friday live at 5 p.m. Pacific.
It's probably gonna be a lot of yelling.
A lot of yelling, probably, I would imagine. I can't imagine that Kayla will be too super thrilled about the Cowboys defensive coordinator either. So
Yeah, I actually got a list of also with fire, so we'll go over those real quick. Washington Commanders offensive coordinator David Blong, Blough.
I don't know.
Okay, was hired as offensive coordinator, and let's go with some
Bluff,
over.
maybe?
Yeah, Bluff. Let's go over some firings, Adelia. Shane McDermott,
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, fired by the Bills. Greg Roman fired by the Chargers. Tampa Bay fired their offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, and Thomas and their special coordinator Thomas McGahee. They were fired. Head coach, your former classmate, Mike McDaniel, fired on January 8th. John Harbaugh
Yep.
fired. John Morton, offensive coordinator for the Lions, fired. Defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. fired by the Commanders, and Matt Eberflusk, Eberflusk,
Everflus.
Everflus, by the Cowboys fired. Jonathan Gannon fired by the Arizona Cardinals, and Las Vegas said we're getting rid of all of you. Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, and Thomas McMahon all fired
Yeah.
by the Raiders. Cleveland Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. That's why he's the head coach of Atlanta Falcons. We talk about Atlanta Falcons. Raheem Morrison, Terry Fon, Fontaine. I don't know. Horrible
I
names.
don't know.
General manager fired. Special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn fired for the Rams. Jeez, wait a minute. Didn't they win?
Yeah, I think that
Oh,
was during the season though.
that was during the season. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Steve Wilkes fired from Jets. And then yeah.
Yeah, all of that's from like during the season. Did you see what Baker Mayfield put on Twitter this evening?
Yes, talking about
Somebody
Stefanski.
somebody had had posted a tweet talking about how he had a dumpster fire at Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland with Baker and Deshaun both failing. And Baker quote tweeted that tweet and said, "Failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text/call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach."
The Cleveland Browns situation is so weird, and like I get like Baker Mayfield wasn't great in Cleveland,
There
and
were rumors going around today, maybe they were actual fact because he took the Chargers coordinator job, that Mike McDaniel had told the Browns to remove him from consideration as their head coach, even though he'd interviewed with them. So he like got a look at the land there and went like, "Nope, I'll go be a coordinator in LA."
yeah. So the Steelers right now they've had some second interviews with Brian Flores. I believe Chris Shula is also had second interviews with the team, and it's kind of like a toss up between them two. I know some the guy that's on ESPN. I can't figure his name out, but he was like, "Oh, all these guys are taking jobs and don't want the Steelers job. That must tell you something." And it was people that the Steelers didn't even interview.
Mhm.
And it's I uh the just I don't of journalists. I want to say like the non research that they do is hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of these coaches they can't talk. Like obviously, like the Rams coach, they can't talk till
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
after if they make it to the Super Bowl or not. Um, so there's a lot going on with that. Speaking of like, someone just posted a picture of Chris Shula being the head coach, Nate Schoolhashi. I don't know. I had horrible names.
Shieldhouse.
What is it?
I think it's Shieldhouse. Nate Shieldhouse.
Sharehouse. Okay, and you Evero being the defensive coordinator. That would be interesting. Um, I sent you a graphic, Dylan. I just want to bring up this graphic because it's kind of crazy. You can pop it up. The average head coaching tenure in the Super Bowl era. The Steelers have had four coaches.
Yeah.
The Ravens are behind them by seasons, 5 seasons. They, and then the Cowboys, um, Giants, Bengals, Vikings. Obviously, you don't see the Browns there because the Browns change coaches like they change underwear. um, when you see this graphic, though, like, what is the like first thing that pops in your head?
You guys are crazy that you've only had 4 head coaches ever. Um, in a
Three,
good
but
way. I mean,
fourth is going to be
well, it's
next.
gonna be 4, but I
Yeah,
mean, like, crazy in a good way. Like, that's some serious loyalty to coaches that maybe, you know, didn't always deserve it. I don't know every Steelers season off the top of my head, but I gotta figure there were been conversations at times about, like, maybe we should make a change. No, let's stick with them, give them a chance, and then obviously it paid off for a lot of success for you guys. The Broncos are on here at what 4.54
yeah.
for
So that's four and a half
almost four and a
seasons.
half years. Yeah, and I can see that. We've had a lot of head coaching turnover since Shanahan left,
Yeah,
but hopefully we got a good situation now with Sean Payton. But who knows? You know, he's not the youngest guy either. But yeah, uh, it's unusual for you guys to change your head coach. I think is the point of this.
yeah. And I think if you look, I think out of the Cowboys, the Bengals, Vikings, Miami, and the Bears, every team has either been to multiple Super Bowls or won Super Bowls, multiple Super
Yeah.
Bowls. All those, all these teams, and so that speaks a lot of volume. You stick
Yeah.
with the coach, you can win. You might win one Super Bowl, but you'll get to multiple championship games, maybe multiple Super Bowls. So it's kind
Hmm.
of good to stick with your head coach and not just fire him. Um, you know, right away. So this was very interesting when I saw it. Um, yeah, as far as the Steelers go, they're still doing their coaching thing. Like I said, I have a feeling they're really going to push for those Rams coaches because I know I was supposed to be doing a video on the top 5 coaches the Steelers would be looking at. I just haven't had a chance to get to it, but I know from seeing reports the Steelers. If you go back and look, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Tomlin were all former like defensive guys, and they want to kind of go offense this time with the
Yeah.
coach. So they're looking at the Rams offensive coordinators, or even though Brian Flores is a very much a defensive coach, they want to kind of move away from that if they can because they feel like that's what's been holding back um, the Steelers as far as a team is being more defensive minded, and then the offense becoming like a second priority, like this year we saw not having a number 2 wide receiver. Um, and so I think that's what their coaching is trying to do. Look toward this year is a coach that's more offensive minded and will be more of an offensive coach rather than a defensive coach. Because I think no matter what, the Steelers are always going to produce really good defense. You still have players that are getting a little older, but they're good defensive players. So you can lean on that on the veterans. And bring in a coordinator that can lean on the veterans to lead that defense while trying to further the offense of the team and make it a more offensive team. So I think that's what they're going for with this direction with the Steelers and looking for a coach rather than just because I feel like if they wanted a coach and they would have hired Flores as the coach and he'd be
Yeah.
more defensive minded. And I think they're really trying to lean into the offensive side of a head coach and seeing that a lot of the teams that are scrolling across this, the Rams, the Seahawks, New England, even the Broncos, before Nix got hurt, they were real more offensive minded. A really good bend don't break defense, but a really good offense. And I think that's what they're going to try to do with this next head coach. So we'll see. We'll keep tabs on it. If we get news, I'll probably try to convince the deal. Let me go live and talk about it when it happens. So we'll figure it out when it
Yeah.
does. So, all right. We recapped or we talked about that. Let's talk about real quick. Adelia, I know you watched some of. We both watched the end of it. The national championship college game last night. Thank
Yeah.
God it was a great game toward the end because Miami didn't score the first half, but then they came alive in that second half and ended up being a
Yeah.
really, really, really good game. Um, second half. The Heisman Trophy winner Mendoza, you know, not a big throwing day, but had one of probably the best plays ever in college history. I believe it was a 4th and 5. They call a quarterback keep. He runs it, gets the first down, but then spins off a defender and dives for the touchdown, which kind of put them ahead, but kind of was a big moment in the game, and put them ahead of the game to win the national championship. Miami has nothing to hang their head about. Mark Fletcher Jr., Tony, the wide receiver, each over 100 yards. Fletcher with 2 touchdowns, Tony with 1 touchdown. But Indiana goes 16-0, wins their first national championship ever in history. Um, I know we've talked about this other places, but I just want to get your overall thoughts. Do you think the college football playoffs is working, and
Probably not.
we're not seeing these powerhouses like because the voting gets to put who's in the national championship game.
Okay, yeah. I think the playoff is a much better situation than the coaches poll or whatever it was before. Like I think the playoff's much better. I think they need to improve the playoff because somehow they added more teams to the playoff and selecting the right teams for the playoff got worse in certain ways. Um, but congrats to Indiana. They thoroughly deserved it. They were the best team all year. They proved it by going unbeaten and winning the national championship. I think that this says a lot to what smaller schools can do if you get players to actually go to the smaller schools. Because Fernando Mendoza, he's a Miami kid, um, if he'd gone to the University of Florida or Florida State or somewhere like that, like
Or
most,
Miami.
or Miami, then it could have been an entirely different story. But he opted to go to Indiana, and I'm sure he got a lot of NIL money out of it once the NIL thing came into play. But um, I think that the NIL money and being able to give these kids what they deserve for, putting their bodies on the line and actually working for the school, which is what they've always been doing and always should have been paid for it. But I think that this it not only gives the kids that, but it gives these smaller schools who have a lot of these smaller schools have some really wealthy boosters that can now step in and say, okay, let's get us a good team. And I know that that makes it like the pros light. And I know that there's a lot of problems with it. I mean, we just had today Duke is suing their quarterback because he wants to leave. And they're saying that violates the the NIL contract he signed with them, which doesn't expire till December 31st. So there's a whole bunch of stuff, this NIL stuff, that is not worked out or clear or right or however you want to phrase it. But um, I think that there is some good in it too. And I think that Indiana is a good example of that. They got a good head coach who worked his way up to get to Indiana. They got a team that, you know, everyone in Bloomington, Indiana is going to remember those kids forever now,
Hmm.
especially Fernando Mendoza, who is the Heisman winner. And he's going to go probably be the number one pick in the draft and have to suffer through the Las Vegas Raiders for the foreseeable future. And for that, I feel sorry for the kid. But he just won a national championship, and that town, like, they'll never forget these kids. And a lot of those kids are not going to be players at the next level. And those kids will never forget this. And it's not an Alabama. It's not a dynasty. And I don't think we'll see dynasties anymore with the way that the NIL system is. At least not at the moment. Not until someone figures out how to master it. But these kids have options now that weren't necessarily options before, because it used to be that if you wanted to win a national championship, you could only go to one of like maybe 8 schools in the country, and not everyone can go to those 8 schools.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that Indiana won. I think it would have been great if Miami had won too, but I think it's great that Indiana won.
Yeah, for sure. Both schools. I mean, in the round before, you had Miami versus Ole Miss. Like, when's the last time Ole Miss was a thing? Like, when
Yeah.
Archie Manning played or when Eli played. Like, and
Yeah.
you still have some schools are still powerhouses. And they have money to be able to give these kids, so they'll still attract, kids to come
There's
play
just
for
more
them.
competition now.
it'll just be more competition, and you can go to a and if you think about it, like honestly, if you go to a smaller school with a schedule and you go undefeated and you get in the playoffs and you can beat these bigger schools, makes it a little easier for you. You go, play for a TCU, or even though that's a known school, but TCU or an Indiana, or a Big Ten Iowa, or any of these smaller schools who now are starting to come up. Like I said, Ole Miss, that wasn't a team you were like, oh my god, Miami, yes, in the '90s, but they haven't really been a thing since then,
Yeah.
or was it 2000s? I don't remember. But they haven't been a thing, and there's a lot of and again, big schools are still in it. Ohio State was still in it. Texas was still there. I don't. Did Texas make it? I don't remember. I don't really. I
Texas
don't.
was in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still have these big schools that are in there in the mix. So it's gonna. I think you're right. It's gonna. I wish though they would stick to the format of the bigger bowl games are the ones like that get the like the national championship game, like the Rose Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or the
See, I don't think they can do that with the way that the season's set up, and then
uh,
with the way that, I mean, the season ends the weekend after Thanksgiving, and then there's just, unless you start the playoffs immediately, which you can't do because you've got the conference championship games and all that, then there's just not going to be enough time, given how they've expanded the college football playoff, to play all the games and have them end on New Year's Day.
well, no, but I mean you can. I mean
They're not going to not have the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day.
you have the parade. The parade goes by my
But they
house
have
every
the
year.
parade because of the Rose Bowl.
Hey, who cares? The parade
I know.
sucks
I know.
anyway. Rains all year, all day that day. um, yeah, but it was nice to see, and it was nice to see. I mean, they like you said, they proved themselves 16-0. That's hard to do, and then you go through a playoff and beat some of the best teams. You deserve to be a national champion. Um,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna do some STV talk, and then we're probably gonna get out of here. Um, we wanted to talk about just random stuff, and before I know we were going to talk about like some schedule changing and all that, but I wanted to ask you a question today because this popped up on my TikTok, and I'm a chismosa. I love gossip and everything. I wanted to ask you like your opinion on this. So, and I don't know the names of the streamers or anything like that, but it's just I'll give you the gist of it, and I just want to get your reaction. So
Okay.
there's a game called Marvel Rivals.
Hmm.
A lot of games now have tournament play for money and things like that. That's always been a thing. Like there back in the day with Super Smash Brothers, you could play tournaments for money and things like that.
Hmm.
Marvel Rivals had a tournament. It was a streamer creator tournament. So it was
Okay.
streamers that stream the game, content creators that stream the game, playing
Hmm.
in the tournament. Well, the tournament was for $40,000, and uh, these streamers, certain streamers were like captains, and they drafted who they wanted on their team. So they drafted the team, and there was a guy on there who is a well known player of Rivals, Marvel Rivals, really good, top ranked, things like that. Because
Hmm.
there's like levels, and he was like,
Yeah.
I forget what the level is in Marvels, but he's like elite, so he's like in the top. Um, so they're playing for $40,000, and they're playing and they're getting beat. And in Marvel and Rivals and in video games, when it's these type of video games, there's different classes. There's tank. There's uh, I don't remember all the things because I even though I'm a nerd, I can't think right now. But it's like tank, DPS, things like that.
Hmm.
And these are different roles that you play in the game, but you play as a team. So like sometimes, like football, there was a time that everyone ran a 3-4 defense, but it changed. Now everyone runs a 4-3 defense. And it's the same in video games. You run certain characters together and they do certain things, but you change eventually. And some people
Yeah.
get used to a single character, and they use them consistently. Well, they're playing for $40,000. This guy goes to college, is broke, paying his way through college. And so he's trying to win this money. And he's asking this player because they're getting beat to switch characters in this game because they're getting beat and they want to kind of switch it up, and the person refused. And he's like, hey, we're losing, you're not playing well because they keep their stats. And they're like, you're not playing well. Can you switch? Can you switch? And was kind of being pestering about it. Would end up kicking this person off, and it has now become one of the biggest controversies um, in on the internet right now because apparently he was saying something about the tournament organizer, so they got mad about that. But a lot of people like were like upset at him, but upset at these people because they're like, hey, if you're playing as a team, like if your teammates asking, yo, I need you to switch it up because we're losing, why wouldn't you go along with it? You know, and the person was like, well, because I'm really good at this. Well, yeah, you're really good, but the stats aren't showing it. Like, um, so I when it comes and we run a team here, in LGR. When it comes to like being a team player, is it about the experience, or should it be about working together to create, to win, win as a group? Like how do you feel with something like that?
I mean, if you're trying to win something as a group, it should be about winning as a group. And you should work together and try to do everything, each person doing everything that they can to win as a group. But if somebody's telling you, I'm only good at this, I only know how to play with this character, I only know how to do this, why would you put them in a situation where they're completely uncomfortable with what they're being asked to do?
Okay, did not see it like that. Absolutely, that actually makes
I
a lot of
mean, I
sense.
think personally, like if I was that person, I would have switched my character. But if I'm being asked to switch to a character I've never played before, do something I've never done before, I'm gonna be like, that's fine, but it's gonna get worse,
True,
you
true.
know? So, I'm confused based off your thing. Which one did they kick out
The one that was asking the other person to
to change the
to
character?
because it came out that they felt that the group felt like he was bullying this person. So,
Yeah.
in a little bit of backstory, which has to be said, and I know it comes off a little weird, but the team was mainly of girls, and there was one or two guys on the team. So it was like four girls and two guys, because I
Hmm.
think it was a six stack, meaning six players in the thing. And the thing that they were saying was like, well, you're killing, we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that. If you and me are playing a game and it's for fun, it's all fun, all fun and games. But we're paying for $40,000 a day. I need your ass to get in line, and we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
take this seriously. Like it is. If you suck and you joined a tournament just because but you're not good, that's a
Hmm.
whole different story. But this guy is like a top ranked player. A lot of these people are top ranked players. Like you kind of, if you're not taking it seriously for $40,000, I think this is what kind of has hurt streaming when it comes to like Twitch. A lot of people aren't good at games, but they play, but they have a lot of followers, and they
Yeah.
have built success off of that. And you might be, these people might be good. I don't know. I haven't looked into their rankings and where they're ranked at because I'm not a big rivals player. Like I played, but I'm not. I'd be
Hmm.
more into like Ford or like COD back in the day. So I don't know like if they're great, because a lot of people are saying, well, this person is a really top ranked player of that character. Okay,
Yeah.
and they're worldwide. Okay, so they're not a scrub, but like if it's like we're playing for charity or we're playing for like $200. Oh yeah, we're not taking this serious. We're having a good time. $40,000, and people are like, well, it's pulled together and it's split. I don't care. $40,000. If I'm even getting $2,000 out of this, if we win,
Yeah.
I'm taking it seriously. Anything over that, I'm taking it seriously. That's that. We're not. It's not NFL money, but that's a lot of money for a
Hmm.
video game tournament.
Yeah.
Um, so the person that was pestering for them to change, they kicked them out. Some people come out and say, "Oh, we were wrong," but a lot of people are what they're bringing up is the bullying because he was asking this person like, "Hey, can you change?" And they're like, "Oh, you're bringing up the fact that he's in college and he's struggling financially to get through college." And they're like, "Oh, what are you broke? That's why you need the money and da da da." And people are like, "Wait a minute, like." So you bullied him because he was trying to win this money? Like, that's not right,
That's
you
not right,
know.
no.
It goes into a deeper conversation we can get into some other time. But this is what I feel has killed streaming and game content. People that are just really not good at the game, but they have followers and fans. And yeah, they
Yeah.
can eventually get good over time. But like, people that are like, I have a friend that's been streaming for years. He's really good. He's top ranked in a lot of games. He streams on Twitch and has maybe 5 people watching him. But I've seen Twitch follow people who are horrible at games, and they got 400 or 500 people watching them, and they're subscribed to them, and they're donating. And I always felt, that that's what's killed streaming and like genuine content creating for people. You see people just get lucky and they strike it and people like them personality, and that's a great thing. That's fine. We have people that follow us for our personality, but like, if you're seeking gameplay, then follow gameplay. Don't follow somebody because um, you know they have all these followers and then you see them play and they're like trash. And again,
Yeah.
these people that were in the tournament are obviously top ranked, but that's a whole different story. So it's just something I came across and I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. To like think that somebody, um, you know,
They're saying, do you need to be good at a game if you just want to have fun? Why do they need to be good?
why do they need to be good if you're just having fun? A lot of people, you're right. A lot of people follow people for just having fun, but when it comes to like tournaments, things like that, like you should be good at the game. Like,
I think it's hard though to say that you expect a tournament of content creators to have to be people good with the game.
if
I
you're
think
playing
they're
for that
just
kind of
picking
money,
people. But like I think the whole thing is like we want as many eyes on this tournament as possible, so we're going to get the most popular. We don't care if they suck at the game.
yeah, that's true.
Oftentimes it's more entertaining if you get people who don't play the game well and watch them play than it is if you watch, like, it would be more entertaining, I think, for me to be playing like Fortnite and watching me get killed over and over and over and getting progressively more frustrated by it than it would be sitting there watch someone win every game. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. I mean, and what the kids call it now, the vibe.
The
A
vibe.
lot of people, yeah, a lot of people watch people for the vibe, and that's fine.
Hmm.
I'm different. I look at content differently. Um, I just find it hilarious though that, okay, it's about the vibe, and I think you're right. Well, when this person made this tournament, it was to try to get as many eyes onto their platforms, their
Yeah.
to get the many eyes on the platform, which is fine. But then if you bring in somebody who's taking it seriously, like they're taking it seriously and they want to win and they're trying to win that money. I mean, as a team, like, wouldn't you want to help your teammate win that money? Like, I know if I'm good at a game and like, or I'm not good at a game, and somebody was like, "Yo, I really need to win this money because I need to, whatever." I'd try my hardest, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think things have just changed from when I grew up as far as gaming to now. It's different, so it's hard. I feel like as Ferris would say, that old man standing on the lawn, stay off my lawn. Maybe that's how I feel right now. I don't know, but I'm a competitive person, so I have fun being competitive. I played competitive Magic for years, um, and that's one of the most toxic uh, things in Magic is competitive Magic. They're toxic because people try to win at any cost, and they're assholes. But it's one of the most favorite things I do. I have a love hate relationship with Magic. You hear me play. I
Hmm.
get mad, but it's one of my favorite things to do because I want to win when I'm playing competitive Magic. If I'm just playing for fun, it's fun. But if I'm playing competitively, I want to win, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I just look at it differently. I just thought it was an interesting thing that's circulating around the internet right now, especially on all the Twitter, TikTok, and all that stuff. And there's like a big discussion right now about it because people are like choosing sides. Like Farrah said, are you playing a game to have fun, or are you playing a game to be competitive?
Yeah.
And how do we look at it? Uh,
Also, that's bad roster construction. You need to be adaptable in gaming. That's true.
yeah, but again, people like Delia said, you get people with a lot of followers because you want more eyes on your whole thing. So you're not going to really you might take somebody that's yes one of the best players at this with this character, but also has all these followers, so you can get those followers to follow you or come look at your stuff. So I get it.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk about just some schedule changing upcoming shows, and some other things we have to talk about. So with still conspiracy, we will have a watch along
We'll
this week
have
for
a
the Broncos.
we'll have a watch along this week for the Broncos. We'll have a show next week
Yeah, if the
for
Broncos go to the
the
Super Bowl, Adelia will be excited, and that Super Bowl watch along will be great because she'll be all
yeah.
excited.
The Super Bowl watch along will be great anyways, because we will be doing a Super Bowl watch along on the show. We might also do a little pre-game show for the Super Bowl, still kicking that idea around. But we're gonna do watch alongs for those games. AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. If the AFC Championship game is won by the Broncos, Suge and I might come back on here and do one for the NFC Championship game. If the Broncos lose, do not plan on that.
Yeah,
I'll just tell you that right now.
yeah, and then we'll do a Super Bowl one. We'll do a show Tuesday, um, after Super Bowl. Looks like we're gonna go into probably a off on week, where we do a show every other week. We'll still be talking about the Steelers Broncos, but we'll do some other stuff. We're gonna bring in some rugby content. So if you're into rugby, make sure to check that out. We are
If
gonna
you
start some.
remember the 4 episodes of the Scrum Down that Ferris and I did a couple years
Yeah, we're
ago,
bringing it back.
we're bringing it back as a segment on Steel Conspiracy.
Yes, we're bringing it back. We'll be doing, draft, mock draft stuff, drafting stuff. We'll probably do a mock draft for each of our team. Maybe we'll bring Ferris
Well, that'll be
and
fun because I have
Kayla.
no idea who any of the players are.
There you go. We'll probably maybe bring in Ferris and Caleb, and we'll all do one. We'll all do one together. See how that goes. We'll plan it out. But we'll go off on, off for the shows. So make sure to hit that notification bell to let you know when we go live. We also will be starting a clips channel, which I think Adelia has already started.
Yeah, it's
So
called the GFBR Highlight Reel. There is a link to the Clips channel in the front page of this channel. There's also a Clips channel for the post credits called the Post Credit Scenes. This is just to get the clips a little more organized and actually make us do them more. So that will be that. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to this channel and to the post credits channel. We have hit 300 subscribers on this channel. We're at 303 subscribers now, which is very
let's
exciting.
go.
Let's get us to 350. Shorts will end up staying on this channel, but the longer form clips will be on the Clips channel. And would really appreciate it if you guys would go over there and subscribe. There's not much up on there yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Make sure to check out all the links for the website, merch, all that good stuff, Patreon, all that good stuff. Make sure to join the Discord. Discord's awesome. We hang out there, talk about everything and anything. Or you can find me in a daily just listening to music in the voice chat, and hang
Yeah,
out in there.
that happens too.
That happens too. Upcoming shows that we have, Adelia, we will be doing as far as on this channel. Um, we have the Step Back coming up on Saturday. So if you want to hear me and Josh talk about basketball, come hang out with us on Saturday. Like I said, we will be doing the watch alongs up until the Super Bowl. Um, and if you want to have us talk about anything else that you're interested in us talking about, let us know in the comments. I know Adelia and Ferris and a couple other people are going to be doing some Olympic coverage. We will be doing World Cup coverage once that starts to get going.
Yep.
There's a bunch of stuff where we have planned, so make sure to come hang out, subscribe, like, turn your notifications, and just let us know what you also want to see from us as far as on this channel. We'd love to have you guys included in deciding what kind of content we do. Um,
One of the best ways you can one of the best ways you can do that is to join us on Patreon or Ko-fi, where you get voting power and polls at the high enough tier. You can suggest segments for the show and then become that sponsor segment should we choose to do it. That segment sponsor should we choose to do it. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff on the Patreon and the Ko-fi. Hopefully giving you guys not only a little bit more of a say around here, but also helping keep the lights on here at LGRN. So
yeah, and we appreciate everybody that's been with us all year. It has been a great it's been a great year doing this with Adelia. I've had so much fun tonight. I it's crazy because I wasn't feeling well, and we did an hour and a 10-minute show.
yeah.
I felt a little bit better. So she always gets me going for this show, and I appreciate her. So if you appreciate Adelia, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff because it really helps push our show out there for other people to see. And we want to be able to, have people hear us talk about what we're passionate about. Obviously, Adelia about the Broncos, me about the Steelers, and all of the sports that we enjoy. There's a lot of cool stuff on this channel. You got playoff beards, you got starting 11, you got the rally, you got all
you got a solo show from me on the rally earlier today. My apologies, it was not the best, but I'd never done a solo show before,
which is crazy. Never thought I'd hear that from Adelia. So make sure to hit all those links. We really appreciate you. Check out the merch store. Great merch out there. Adelia is killing it with the merch and getting that up. So make sure to check it out. Once again, we appreciate all of you. I hope you have a great night. We'll see you Sunday. I don't know why I said Saturday. We'll see you Sunday.
You will see them Saturday because you're doing the step back.
Yeah, I will see you Saturday. We will see Broncos fans and football fans on Sunday for the watch along. So make sure to hit that notification bell when we go live. Let's get out of here, Adelia. Everyone have a great night. Be safe, and we will talk to you next week.